Hello there and welcome to my new website, sextonreadsthecharts.com. My name is Pat Sexton and I've worked as a stockbroker for approximately 25 years. During that time, I often found that technical analysis often provided more fruitful results and better results than fundamental analysis when I was analysing shares and trying to advise clients whether they should buy or sell particular stocks. What is technical analysis? Well, technical analysis is basically the study of share price graphs and charts in an effort to try and predict what the future movement of that particular stock or share will be. Indeed, it can also be applied to an overall market, such as the Dow Jones index for the US market, S&P 500 index, which is probably the most important stock market index in worldwide stock markets, FTSE 100 for the London market. So it can be applied to the overall stock market as measured by these particular indices, or it can be applied to individual stocks. Technical analysis can also be applied to currencies and commodities, but that's outside the scope of this website. I'm focusing on this website purely on the technical analysis of shares. Now, the other type of analysis that's done on shares is called fundamental analysis, and that is the conventional methodology that's accepted by the overwhelming majority of stock market participants. Fundamental analysis is the study of financial ratios, which are taken from a company's results and from brokers' forecasts with regard to the possible future profits for that company. But what we are dealing with on this website is technical analysis, the study of charts. Now, a lot of people in my industry and a lot of investors and a lot of commentators think that technical analysis, which is the study of charts, is an absolute load of mumbo jumbo. That it has no validity, that these people are saying they're looking at a chart for a share price and they're saying the same pattern is going to repeat itself, blah blah blah, that it has no validity. I was once a skeptic when I started off about 25 years ago in the stockbroking business, but I gradually became a convert, and indeed in my final 10 years working as a broker, I actually found that technical analysis gave me far more superior results than fundamental analysis. Now, why is this? Well, let's explain it by means of an example. Let's say you have a particular share on the US market, we'll say trading in dollars, and let's say for the past 2 years that stock has traded around the $35 level. So it's gone up and down a few dollars, but it has oscillated around that level of $35. So we'll take that case, right? Now, let's say suddenly this week that particular stock has moved up from $35 to $40 on pretty heavy volume, and there's been no news out whatsoever to explain the sudden strength in the share price. How do you react? Do you react to that, or indeed do you react to that? Well, the technical analyst will say there's something going on in that stock. The stock has suddenly moved up out of the range and broken out of the range it has traded at in the last 2 years. There's no news out to explain it, but the volume has been heavy. So these people who are buying that stock, they must have been buying it for some reason. And the assumption we make when we're using technical analysis is we assume that those people that were buying the stock and pushed it up to $40, which is an all-time record for that stock, they had some information that was not yet in the public domain. Now, technical analysis works better for large cap companies where the volume of trading is quite high, so therefore no one individual or small group of people can actually manipulate the share price. So just to park that issue or deal with it as much as I can within the scope of a very short presentation. So it's gone from 35 up to 40. How do you react? The technical trader using technical analysis would probably buy that stock based on that movement alone, assuming that something interesting is happening here, there will be some positive developments. However, the investor that's using fundamental analysis will take a different approach. The investor using fundamental analysis will say that stock has suddenly got more expensive. There's no news out to justify why it's now trading at $40 compared to $35. The PE has gone up, the dividend yield has gone down, etc., etc. And that particular investor, if they were holding the shares, might even consider selling them and certainly wouldn't consider buying them. Now, who was right and who was wrong in that particular scenario? Think about it for a moment, right? My experience has been the technical investor using technical analysis is right 9 times out of 10 in that particular situation. The stock did not suddenly shoot up to $40 for no reason. Something is going on in that industry or with that particular company, and something is changing, and then what you try and do is you try and guess what is going on. Now, what can often happen is 6 or 12 weeks later, some positive news emerges concerning that stock or the overall sector, and you say, aha, that's the reason why 6 weeks ago it went up to $40. These people got wind of what was going on. Now, that could be insider trading, which is a criminal act. But it may not be insider trading. It could just be investors that are smarter than the rest of us, that just know that business really, really well, and they know it's taking off because there's been some change with regard to how that particular type of business is conducted, maybe due to technology, would be the prime reason these days, and that this is going to be favorable for that particular company. Whereas the investor using fundamental analysis is assuming that he or she has all the information that's available and that all investors have the same information at the same time. Now, for skeptics out there with regard to technical analysis who say that this study of charts is a load of mumbo jumbo, do you believe for one moment that in the big bad world out there, particularly in the harsh world of the stock market, that everybody has the exact same information at the exact same time? The answer to that, my friends, in my view, is no. If you believe that, then ignore technical analysis. But if you believe that some people have information about particular stocks sooner than the rest of us, and that the big action is happening before the stock goes into the public domain, then that is the time where I think you'll change your mindset from looking at fundamental analysis to looking at technical analysis. Now, elsewhere on this website, I've given other examples why I believe technical analysis is a very, very useful tool in trying to decide when to buy and when to sell a stock. So you can read up on that elsewhere on this website. The other thing I want to say to you before I finish this brief presentation is that technical analysis assumes that the market, and indeed individual stocks within the market, move in trends. So it works best when trends occur. In other words, there's an upward trend in share prices for a prolonged period of time, which we call a bull market. And then it's followed inevitably by a downward trend in share prices, which we call a bear market. And 70 to 90% of shares follow that particular that trend. Now, like everything else on the stock market, this is just a tool that can be used. It's not infallible. There is nothing that's infallible with regard to methodologies that one can use in trying to determine when to buy and when to sell particular stocks. Technical analysis does not always work. The particular type of market that is deadly for technical analysis is a whipsaw market, where just when it seems to be on an upward trend it changes course, then when it seems to be on a downward trend it changes course. So beware of the whipsaw market. That's when technical analysis does not work. But it has worked quite well so many times for me in my career that I'm quite happy to recommend it. I hope you'll find this website very interesting and useful, and that it will help you with regard to making your investment decisions. So I wish you successful investing. Thank you.